I found my son kneeling beside me on the bathroom floor, his face pale, my insulin syringe still in his hand. The metallic taste in my mouth wouldn't go away, and my vision blurred at the edges. I tried to speak, but the words came out as a whisper. "Michael, something's wrong." He dropped the syringe and pulled out his phone, fingers shaking as he dialed 911. Through my foggy consciousness, I heard him say my name over and over. "Mom, stay with me. Mom, please." But there was something in his voice I couldn't quite place. Not panic. Something else. The paramedics arrived within minutes. As they lifted me onto the stretcher, I caught a glimpse of my daughter-in-law Jennifer standing in the doorway, her arms crossed, her face unreadable. Our eyes met for just a second before the world went dark. That was 3 weeks ago. The doctors said I had a severe hypoglycemic episode. My blood sugar had dropped so low that I nearly slipped into a diabetic coma. They adjusted my insulin dosage and sent me home with strict instructions. Michael and Jennifer insisted I stay with them until I recovered. "We're family, Mom," Michael said, squeezing my hand. "We take care of our own." I've lived alone for 7 years now, ever since Harold passed away from a heart attack at 65. We'd built a good life together in our small house in Portland. Harold was a plumber, and I worked as a school secretary for 32 years. We raised Michael in that house, watched him graduate from college, stood beside him at his wedding 5 years ago. After Harold died, I thought about selling, moving into something smaller, but every corner of that house held memories I wasn't ready to let go of. The diabetes diagnosis came 2 years after Harold's death. Type 1, the doctor said. I'd need to monitor my blood sugar carefully and give myself insulin injections twice a day. It was overwhelming at first, learning to test my levels, calculate the right dosage, stick a needle into my own stomach. But I managed. I've always managed. Michael and Jennifer lived 40 minutes away in Lake Oswego, in one of those new developments with identical houses and perfectly manicured lawns. Michael worked in tech, something about software development that I never quite understood. Jennifer didn't work. They had 2 kids, Emma and Jack, ages 6 and 4. Sweet children, though I didn't see them as often as I'd have liked. When I woke up in their guest bedroom 3 weeks ago, everything felt different. The room was decorated in neutrals, beige and cream, with no personal touches. A far cry from my own bedroom at home, with Harold's reading glasses still on his nightstand and our wedding photo on the dresser. "Good morning, Mom," Jennifer said, appearing in the doorway with a breakfast tray. She smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. "How are you feeling?" "Better," I said, though that wasn't entirely true. My body felt heavy, my mind clouded. "I think I can go home soon." "Let's not rush things," she said, setting the tray on my lap. Scrambled eggs, whole wheat toast, a small bowl of fresh berries. "The doctor said you need supervision for at least a month. And honestly, we're happy to have you here." She gestured to the tray. "I measured everything. The carbs are exactly what you need for your morning insulin dose." I looked at the food, calculating in my head as I'd learned to do. 15 grams of carbs from the toast, maybe 20 from the berries. Jennifer was right. She'd been so attentive since I arrived, measuring my meals, reminding me to test my blood sugar, even offering to give me my injections. "You've done so much already," she'd say. "Let me help." But something about her helpfulness felt off, though I couldn't explain why. Maybe I was just being ungrateful. Maybe after 7 years of independence, having someone else manage my care felt like losing control. Michael came in as I was finishing breakfast. He kissed my forehead like he used to do when he was a little boy. "How's my favorite mom?" "I'm your only mom," I said, the same response I'd given him since childhood. He grinned, but it faded quickly. "Listen, I wanted to talk to you about something. Your house. Have you thought about what you want to do with it?" My chest tightened. "What do you mean?" "Well, you're here now. And honestly, Mom, living alone at your age, with your condition, is it really safe? We have plenty of room. You could sell the house, invest the money, live here with us. The kids would love having Grandma around all the time." I set down my fork. "I'm 62, not 90, and I've been managing my diabetes just fine." "You almost died 3 weeks ago," he said quietly. "If I hadn't been there when you collapsed." He was right, of course. But the thought of selling Harold's house, my house, the place where I'd spent 40 years of my life, Felt like betraying his memory. "I need to think about it," I said. Jennifer appeared in the doorway again. "Time for your insulin, Barbara." She held up the syringe, already filled with the clear liquid. "I pre-measured it based on your breakfast." I hesitated. I'd always prepared my own injections, double-checking the dosage against my blood sugar reading. "Did you test my levels?" "I did it while you were sleeping," she said. "You were at 120. Perfect." Something about that bothered me. I was a light sleeper, always had been. How had I not woken up when she pricked my finger? But maybe the medication they gave me in the hospital was still affecting me. Maybe I was being paranoid. I lifted my shirt, and Jennifer administered the injection with practiced efficiency. "All done," she said brightly. "You just rest now." Over the next 2 weeks, a pattern emerged. Jennifer controlled everything about my care. My meals, measured to the gram. My blood sugar tests done while I slept or right after I woke up, too groggy to check the meter myself. My insulin, always pre-filled in the syringe, the exact amount I needed based on her calculations. "You don't have to do all this," I told her one morning. "I want to," she insisted. "Besides, Michael and I have been talking. We think it's best if you stay here permanently. We've already contacted a realtor about your house." My blood ran cold. "You what?" "Don't be upset, Mom," Michael said, coming up behind her. "It's for the best. Your house is falling apart anyway. The roof needs replacing. The furnace is ancient. The realtor thinks we can get a good price, even with the needed repairs." "That's my house," I said, my voice rising. "You had no right." "We're your family," Jennifer said, her voice sharp. "We're trying to help you." But it didn't feel like help. It felt like control. That night, lying in the guest bedroom, I couldn't sleep. My mind raced with questions. Why were they so eager to sell my house? Why was Jennifer so insistent on managing every aspect of my care? And most troubling of all, why did I feel worse now than I had before the episode? I thought about the day I collapsed. I'd given myself my morning insulin like always, had breakfast, did some gardening. Then Michael had stopped by unexpectedly, saying he wanted to check on me. He'd made me tea. Chamomile, my favorite. I'd felt fine until about 20 minutes after drinking it. That's when the dizziness started, when my hands began to shake. I sat up in bed, my heart pounding. Could it be possible? No. Michael was my son. He would never hurt me. But the thought wouldn't leave me alone. The next morning, I waited until Jennifer brought my insulin. "Actually, I'd like to do it myself today," I said. "I need to get back into the habit." Her smile tightened. "Are you sure? You might calculate the dosage wrong?" "I've been doing this for 2 years," I said firmly. "I think I can manage." She handed me the syringe reluctantly. I looked at it carefully. The liquid seemed clear, the amount looked right, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. "Can you get me a glass of water?" I asked. As soon as she left the room, I emptied the syringe into a tissue, hid it in my pocket, and refilled the syringe from my own insulin pen from my purse. When Jennifer returned, I gave myself the injection from my own supply. Within an hour, I felt better than I had in weeks. My head was clearer, my energy higher. It could have been coincidence, but I didn't think so. I started paying attention to small things I'd missed before. The way Jennifer hovered whenever I took my medication. The way Michael constantly brought up selling my house, sometimes multiple times a day. The way they exchanged glances when they thought I wasn't looking. The way my daughter-in-law insisted on doing my blood sugar tests herself, never letting me see the meter. One afternoon, when they'd taken the kids to soccer practice, I went into their bedroom. I'd never snooped in my life, never invaded anyone's privacy, but desperation made me bold. In the back of Michael's dresser drawer, underneath his winter sweaters, I found a folder. Inside were real estate listings for houses in Hawaii, expensive houses far beyond what Michael and Jennifer could afford on his salary alone. There were also printouts about estate planning, about inheritance laws in Oregon, about what happens when someone dies without a will. My hands shook as I read through the papers. At the bottom of the pile was a life insurance policy. My life insurance policy. The one Harold had set up years ago, the one I'd forgotten about. It was for $500,000, and I'd never changed the beneficiary from Michael. I heard the garage door opening. I shoved everything back into the drawer and hurried to the guest room, my heart hammering against my ribs. That night at dinner, I watched them carefully. Jennifer served me chicken and vegetables, the portions perfectly measured as always. "Your blood sugar was a bit high this afternoon," she said. "I'm going to increase your insulin dose tonight." "Actually, I'm not hungry," I said, pushing my plate away. "I think I'll skip dinner." Michael frowned. "You need to eat, Mom. For your blood sugar." I said I'm not hungry. I stood up from the table, and I think I'll go back to my house tomorrow. I'm feeling much better. The silence that followed was deafening. Jennifer and Michael looked at each other, having one of those wordless conversations that married couples have. "That's not a good idea," Michael said finally. "You're not ready." "I'm an adult," I said. "I can make my own decisions." "We sold it," Jennifer blurted out. The room spun. "What?" "We accepted an offer yesterday," she continued, her voice defiant now. "The house was falling apart anyway. You'll be much better off here with us." "You sold my house without my permission?" My voice was barely a whisper. "We have power of attorney," Michael said, "for medical decisions. The lawyer said we could extend that to financial matters, given your condition." I had signed a medical power of attorney form when I was in the hospital, barely conscious, terrified I might end up on life support like Harold had, but I never intended for them to control my entire life. "This is insane," I said. "That's my house, my life." "You're sick, Mom," Michael said, and for the first time, I heard anger in his voice. "You can't take care of yourself. Someone needs to make decisions for you." I looked at my son, really looked at him, and saw a stranger. When had he become this person? Or had he always been this way, and I just never wanted to see it? That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in the dark, listening to the house settle around me, planning. In the morning, when Jennifer brought my insulin, I took it into the bathroom and poured it down the sink. I gave myself my own dose from the pen I'd hidden in my makeup bag. Then I waited until they left for work and errands. As soon as the house was empty, I called my friend Dorothy, who I'd known since elementary school. "I need help," I said. "Please come get me." She arrived within 30 minutes, no questions asked. That's what 50 years of friendship gets you. We drove to the police station, where I filed a report. Then we went to my lawyer's office. "They forged your signature on the house sale documents," my lawyer said, examining the papers I'd managed to photograph with my phone. "And extending power of attorney beyond medical decisions without your explicit consent is illegal. We can stop the sale and press charges." "I want to do both," I said. The next part happened quickly. The police went to Michael and Jennifer's house with a warrant. They seized the insulin vials Jennifer had been using. Lab tests showed they weren't insulin at all, but a mixture of insulin and a drug called glyburide, which causes dangerously low blood sugar. In small doses, it mimics insulin. In larger doses, it can kill. Jennifer had been slowly poisoning me, making my blood sugar drop so low that I'd seem incompetent, unable to care for myself. The plan was simple: keep me weak and confused, get me to sign over my assets, then gradually increase the dosage until my body couldn't take it anymore. A diabetic dying from medication complications wouldn't raise any suspicions. Michael claimed he didn't know. He said Jennifer had convinced him I was getting worse, that I needed constant care, that keeping me in their home was the compassionate choice. Maybe that was true. Maybe he was just weak, easily manipulated by a woman who saw dollar signs where there should have been love. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Jennifer was sentenced to 15 years for attempted murder and fraud. Michael received 5 years for conspiracy and forging documents, though he's appealing. I'm back in my house now, the one they tried to steal from me. The roof still needs repairs, and the furnace still makes that rattling sound Harold always meant to fix. But it's mine. Every creaky floorboard, every water stain on the ceiling, every memory soaked into the walls. Emma and Jack come to visit sometimes. Dorothy brings them over when she can. They're confused about why they can't see their parents, and I don't know how to explain it to them in a way that won't break their hearts. How do you tell children that their mother tried to kill their grandmother for money? I've learned some hard lessons these past months. I learned that family doesn't always mean safety. I learned that the people you trust most can be the ones who hurt you deepest. But most importantly, I learned to pay attention. Pay attention when something feels wrong, even if you can't explain why. Pay attention to the small changes, the subtle shifts in behavior. Pay attention to your own instincts, especially when everyone around you is telling you you're wrong. I survived because I paid attention. Because even when my mind was foggy from whatever poison Jennifer was feeding me, some part of me knew something wasn't right. That part of me fought to stay alert, to notice, to question. My diabetes is under control now. I manage it myself, test my own blood sugar, calculate my own dosages. Dorothy checks on me every day, and I've joined a support group for diabetics at the community center. I've even started dating again, though I take things very slowly. Trust doesn't come easy anymore. Sometimes, late at night, I think about Michael as a little boy. The way he used to climb into my lap when he had nightmares. The way he'd bring me flowers he'd picked from the neighbor's garden, so proud of himself even though I had to apologize for the stolen blooms. I wonder where that little boy went, or if he was ever really there at all. But mostly, I think about the future, about the life I get to live because I refuse to be a victim. I'm 62 years old, and I'm just getting started. Last week, I changed my will. Everything goes to a scholarship fund for students who've lost parents to violence. My house will be sold when I'm gone, but on my terms, when I'm ready. Emma and Jack will receive money for college, held in trust until they turn 21. I've made sure Michael and Jennifer can't touch a penny of it. I'm also writing a book about my experience. Not for publication necessarily, but for other women who might find themselves in similar situations. For daughters and mothers and wives who feel that something is wrong but can't quite put their finger on what. For anyone who's been told they're imagining things, being paranoid, overreacting. Trust yourself. I want to tell them. Your instincts exist for a reason. Pay attention to the small things. And never, ever let anyone convince you that you're not capable of taking care of yourself. Every morning now, I make myself tea. Not chamomile anymore. That taste is ruined for me forever. I drink Earl Grey now, strong and black, in the chipped mug Harold gave me on our 10th anniversary. I sit at my kitchen table, the one we bought at a garage sale when we were newlyweds, and I plan my day. Sometimes I garden. Sometimes I volunteer at the library. Sometimes I just sit and enjoy the silence, the peace of knowing I'm safe in my own home, in control of my own life. I think about the woman I was before all this happened, trusting, maybe too trusting, willing to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, even when the doubt kept growing. I'm not that woman anymore, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Probably both. But I'm alive, and at 62, with all my health issues and all my scars, both visible and invisible, I'm grateful for every single day. Jennifer writes me letters from prison sometimes. They're full of apologies and excuses. She was desperate, she says. Michael's company was going under. They were drowning in debt. She never meant for things to go so far. She hopes someday I can forgive her. I don't read past the first few lines anymore. I burn them in the fireplace, watch the paper curl and blacken, watch her words turn to ash. Forgiveness might come someday, but it won't be today. Maybe not ever. And that's okay too. The most important thing I've learned is that surviving isn't enough. You have to reclaim your life, piece by piece, day by day. You have to decide who you want to be after trauma tries to destroy you. I choose to be strong. I choose to be vigilant. I choose to be the kind of woman who helps others recognize the warning signs I almost ignored. Last month, a woman from my diabetes support group pulled me aside after a meeting. She told me her son-in-law had started asking strange questions about her medication, about her finances. She wanted to know if she was being paranoid. Trust your gut, I told her, squeezing her hand. And let me give you my lawyer's number, just in case. I don't know if I helped her or not, but I tried. And that's what matters. This morning, I woke up early and watched the sunrise through my bedroom window. The same window I've been watching sunrises through for 40 years. Harold used to wake me up to watch with him, especially in the summer when the sky would turn all shades of pink and orange. "Look at that, Barb," he'd say. "Another day we get to spend together." He's been gone 7 years, but I still hear his voice sometimes, in the quiet moments. I think he'd be proud of how I handled things. Harold was always the strong one, the one who fixed things, who took care of problems. I was the gentle one, the peacemaker, the one who wanted everyone to get along. But sometimes, peace isn't the answer. Sometimes, you have to fight. I'm fighting now. Fighting for my independence, for my right to live my life on my own terms, for my future. And I'm winning. Yesterday, I received a call from a women's advocacy group. They want me to speak at a conference about elder abuse, about how to recognize the signs, how to protect yourself. I said yes. My story might be unique, but the underlying truth isn't. People you trust can hurt you. Love doesn't always mean safety. I'm scared to speak in front of hundreds of people. I'm scared to relive those awful weeks, to talk about how my own son and daughter-in-law tried to kill me. But I'm more scared of staying silent, of letting other women suffer because I was too afraid to speak up. So I'll do it. I'll stand up there and tell my story, ugly parts and all. I'll talk about the insulin that wasn't insulin, the house they tried to steal, the life they tried to end. And I'll tell them how I survived. Not just survived, thrived. Because that's what this is about. Really. Not just staying alive, but building a life worth living. A life filled with purpose and meaning, and yes, caution, but also hope. Hope that tomorrow will be better than today. Hope that the world has more good people than bad. Hope that sharing my story will help someone else recognize the danger before it's too late. I'm 62 years old. I'm a widow, a diabetic, a survivor of attempted murder. I'm also a fighter, a friend, a woman who refused to become a victim. And I'm still here, drinking my morning tea, watching the sunrise, grateful for another day. That's my story. It's not a pretty one, and it doesn't have a fairy tale ending, but it's real, and it's mine, and I'm proud of it. Because in the end, the best revenge isn't hatred or anger. It's living well. It's taking back your power and refusing to let trauma define you. So if you're reading this, if you're in a situation that doesn't feel right, if someone you love is making you feel small or incompetent or crazy, listen to that voice inside you, the one that knows something is wrong. Don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it away. Pay attention. Document everything. Reach out for help. You're not paranoid. You're not overreacting. Your life might depend on trusting yourself. And remember, it's never too late to start over. Never too late to reclaim your life. Never too late to choose yourself. I did, and I'm still here to tell the tale. Thank you for listening to my story.